Welcome to Crones and Coffee with Lori and Kate, a podcast about spirituality, real, raw, and authentic, and lots of laughs. Hey Kate, how's it going?
Hi Lori. It's like we never left. We're always in this little computer, we never leave.
It seems that way, right? I feel like, dang, it's already time to do another podcast, but it's been fun. We've had some guests. So what are you doing this weekend? Anything exciting?
I'm going to see another show. I'm going to see this local musician. His name's Temple Mountain. He lives near Temple Mountain.
Ooh.
I'm intrigued by that because I'm Darling Hill and I live on Darling Hill.
Oh, and what's the thing your husband just got you? You were so excited about?
What did he get me?
Tickets to see?
Oh, John Cameron Mitchell. I'm trying really hard not to be loud, but I'm very excited.
Well, you can be loud. It's fine.
So I don't know if anybody knows who John Cameron Mitchell is. He wrote the story behind Hedwig and the Angry Inch and performed as Hedwig. He didn't write the music, but he wrote the story, and he performed the character, and it was on Broadway, and it won a bunch of Tonys, and it's a great musical. And named my cat Hedwig. I've been obsessed with that character because when I got a kitten, I wanted to name him after a musical influence. So I was like, Hedwig. Hedwig's like the most audacious performer I've ever seen. And now, fast forward 23 years, and he's coming to Keene, and he's going to be doing some songs from the musical.
It's so cool.
So yes, I'm very excited. And real quick, what was funny was when I realized that he was coming, I was actually recording a practice session. I was playing piano, and I like to listen back.
Yeah.
And I could hear my chair squeak over to because I just did the audio, so I was listening back to it, and I'm playing piano, and I stop, and I rotate over to my keyboard and my desk to just take a break, and I could tell the moment when I saw the promo go through because my fingers started flying on the keyboard. You can hear me going, Aaron, here we have to go. And he's such an obscure guy that there wasn't a lot of ticket sales at first, so I got like second row.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Very nice.
Awesome. So we have a special guest today. Yay. And it's hi Vic.
Hi.
Vic owns Eye of Ethereal, which is a tattoo
and spirituality
shop located on 33 Railroad Square in Nashua, New Hampshire. Welcome, Vic, to our podcast.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here.
Yay!
It's my first podcast experience.
Ooh.
Very exciting.
So fancy.
Yes, we're very professional here.
Very professional.
Very, very professional. We're sitting on the floor in the sound lounge at my studio.
It's a vibe.
It is a vibe.
It is a vibe, and we're all about the vibe.
I have it no other way, truly.
Eye of Ethereal, located in Nashua, New Hampshire, is sponsoring this podcast today. Go check out her website, eyeofethereal.com. And we're going to dive into divination and intuitiveness. What does it mean when someone is intuitive? Intuitive means having the ability to understand or know something without any direct evidence or reasoning process. Let's talk about witchcraft and intuitiveness, often associated with mysterious spells and potions. Dun, dun, dun. It is deeply entwined with intuition. Practitioners tap into the unknown energies of the universe. Their intuition guides them in harnessing this power for their craft. Their intuition acts as a compass, leading them to the right herbs, crystals, incantations, which are needed for their practice. So we're talking about that today. And Vic does intuitive tattoo.
That I do.
Tell us a little bit about that and what that involves. And I know I follow you on social media. Make sure you follow her on social media too. But it's a really awesome process to see. I have not had one done by her personally. Kate has.
Sort of.
Kind of, sort of. We'll get into that.
We can talk about that.
We can talk about that for sure.
But tell us what intuitive tattooing is.
It's something that I kind of made up.
Actually, you call it intuitive psychic, right? Isn't that?
I kind of dabble between intuitive and psychic tattoos. It really, in my mind, kind of means the same thing. I think more people recognize what psychic means in the kind of clickbaity kind of way. Intuitive feels more comfortable to what I feel I practice. So I feel like those words are easily interchangeable. But
so if someone were to come in your shop and say, I would like to learn more about you're intuitive, because you also do other tattoos.
I do normal stuff.
Right, yeah, quote normal.
Yeah.
But someone comes in and they're like, okay, I specifically want this experience with you. What is that process?
So the logistical process, you come in and we have our first session. I do enjoy breaking up into sessions. It just makes it easier on me in the load of everything. But you come in for your first session, you get an hour reading, and that entails charm casting, and then we do a more in-depth reading with the tarot cards, and then we close it off with an oracle card. So I know a lot of people don't really know what charm casting is.
I was just going to say, can you explain that part for our listeners?
That's usually like the number one question. But so I have like a board, and I have a cup, fancy cup of charms, and based on where the charms lay on the board after I shake up the cup and throw them on, it just kind of gives you a general reading of what's going on energetically with you. So it's a very similar process to tarot.
And does each charm have like a specific meaning to it?
It does. And obviously those meanings can be somewhat changed based on how the reading really lays out. But same with tarot. You know,
yeah, of course. Yep.
There's that general basic understanding of what each charm means, but you go in depth based on what's going on the board.
Yeah.
So I usually use charm casting as just like a general vibe checker. And
you've obviously honed the skill of intuitiveness.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do that, and I kind of feel like the charm casting just kind of sets the tone. We get kind of a feeling of where you are energetically, and just what you're dealing with directly. And then the tarot, my normal spread is past, present, future, and then body, mind, spirit. Mm-hmm. So we really get to know what's going on with you, especially for the tattooing process, because I obviously want to give you a piece that's really pertaining to what's happening now in time.
A piece that speaks to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So so we do that, and the tarot definitely dives deep, and I feel like the oracle card is just like a good way to kind of close it off, so that you have like a little bit of extra advice at the end, a little bit of, you know, a little bit to go home with.
About how long is that session?
It's an hour reading. Sometimes we go over because me and my clients tend to chat. Which is no problem.
Which is why you're great to be on a podcast, because you like to chat.
I do like to chat. I can go on forever, especially about this kind of stuff. But anyways, so once you finish the reading, we'll then talk a little bit about the tattoo. Honestly, it does take a lot of blind trust. There's really... I don't even know.
Well, and everyone I've seen that you've posted is like, holy crap, that's amazing.
I've definitely had a lot of people cry when they see the final product.
Yeah.
Because I don't send it via messaging either. You don't see it until you come in for the tattoo appointment.
Now
it's crazy.
let me interrupt you there. So they don't know what they're getting. Can they at that point say, yeah, nah?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not like they're lost.
I've seen her do it. She straps you down and then she like puts you out with some chloroform.
But so what I mean is, you know, if someone comes in and they're just not jiving with it, it's not like they're obligated. They still have to take the time to get this done. Like what would the process be at that point if someone was like, nah?
The first part of that is I do offer, you can either get a tattoo or you can get a print.
Oh, nice.
So you don't have to commit to, you know, permanently altering your body.
That's great.
Right, you can frame it on the wall.
So that's pretty awesome.
Right, so if you come in and you see like the stencil of the tattoo and you're like, you know, I love it, but it's not necessarily something that I want tattooed, or maybe it's too big, maybe it's too in depth, whatever the reason is, we can then talk about, you know, what we would want for the final product of the print as well, you know, size, how we want it printed, if you want color, black and gray, all those things. Obviously the same thing with the tattoo, if you want black and gray or color. But if you just still want a tattoo, which most people do, you're excited, the time is built up and you've been looking forward to the appointment, all that good stuff. But at that point, we can either, we can do a lot of things. We can either reschedule and just kind of like going back to the drawing board altogether. I've had moments with clients where we've just sat for a good, 30, 40 minutes and completely redrawn and talked about what resonates, what doesn't. How simple do you want to go? Maybe it's too much detail, because I do tend to go a little crazy sometimes. So yeah, there's
That's
definitely
your
a lot of
style,
options.
though. A lot of people like that. A lot of people like that detail. So I actually think that's your forte.
I do like the surrealism approach to art. You know, there's just a bunch of stuff that doesn't really make sense, but kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy that style, and I feel like a lot of people like it about the psychic designs specifically. I feel like that style really comes through more so. So yeah, you have a lot of options when it comes to doing this approach. It's definitely different.
Yeah, and where can people find some of the samples of your intuitive work?
I have quite a few on my Instagram, but you do kind of have to search for them. I'd like to post a little bit more of like collages of them and something more.
What's the handle for Instagram?
It's I have ethereal, but between each word an underscore.
Okay.
So try to keep it simple.
Yeah. So I'll post her handles in the description on this podcast, so you can go check her out.
You can find them in a literally lined up, just a portfolio on its own on my website as well. So that make it a little easier.
Because I stalk your page all the time. You have a lot of them clearly labeled as well.
I try to make it obvious.
There's quite a few where and eventually you can tell which ones are.
Yeah.
Eventually I'm like, oh, okay, but she has a psychic design.
And there's usually definitions and kind of breaks the image down as well, especially on Instagram. I usually go pretty lengthy on what's what and why the symbol's there and like all this fun stuff. And sometimes it gets personal depending if the client's okay with me posting and, consent's there as well.
Yeah.
I told you, I said, yes. You're like, what? I'm like, you have my consent to share this story.
Do it.
So tell us about that.
Oh, right.
You did it was like a flash or something?
So, yeah, it was a flash.
She thought it was.
Yeah.
So, and for people that aren't familiar with that term, flash, what does that mean?
Right. So flash is just pre-drawn designs that you come in and, it's kind of that old school thinking of you just pick it off the wall kind of idea for a tattoo. They're obviously posted on social media and all that kind of stuff too nowadays. But
you limit to who gets to, if one person claims that flash,
that's
it's theirs.
It's
you don't
first
replicate
come, first
it.
serve. Yeah.
Someone can't come in and get the same thing.
You can get something similar, if you like the idea, and then at that point I can just make you something custom, use it as inspiration. But
I'm getting one next month.
You are doing a custom sigil, which is very exciting. Love those.
Me too. I was instantly drawn to that. I know we went off topic.
No.
I was instantly drawn. No, I actually went with, because I want to get that one with you. It's connected to nature.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love doing the sigils. They're super fun. But okay, so with Kate's, we'll call intuitive design. She actually came in and we were going to do this sacred geometry, mandala piece going down her back, and I had it all drawn up. It'll probably flash at one point, so stay tuned. But when she came in, I was already kind of feeling weird about the design. I just felt like it wasn't Kate enough, and I've known Kate for 10 years. So it was by the time I finally got to tattoo her with a real piece, reach on your fingers, but that's nothing. But something artistic that I could really express who Kate is in such a cool way. The mandala was just not cutting it for me. So she came in and she was like, "Don't hate me."
Victoria,
don't you love when people start with that?
I'm aware that part of your job as a tattoo artist, and we kind of talked about this yesterday. There's just, I understand that there's this give and take with your client about what they like or what they don't like, because you are putting it on their body.
Yeah, it's
so. But
forever.
There's also your art. And I'm I don't ever want to exploit your time. I don't ever want to, you to think I don't. But what ended up happening was when I started playing, I've been trying to figure out how to finance my tattoo, and finally Christmas came around, and I said, Aaron, I'd really like a tattoo from Victoria. So he said, done, right? So I'm like, cool. Now I get to
husband point.
Yeah. I'm now I get to actually, because I hate sometimes talking with Victoria about tattoo ideas, because I'm I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Because I want them all.
Yeah,
here's my entire Pinterest board.
Exactly. So,
and I don't have enough body parts.
So I was so when I first met, it's kind of interesting because of how we met was at a festival when she was a teenager, and I shared with her. I was just pretty fresh in my recovery when she met me. I was only a year in.
Yeah.
So I had this young girl with me, and we just clicked. She came in my booth with her mom, and she had her sketchbook with her.
I did.
And I was like, oh, I love looking at people's sketchbooks. So she was fine. She's like, oh yeah, look. And I was like, oh my God. she's 16 and this is where she's drawing. And I was like, holy mackerel, this girl's not like,
Let's be friends.
they're not doodles. Like I all of a sudden understood her wisdom.
Yeah.
And I was like,
old soul.
Oh yeah, I could see it through her art. And I was like, well, she's going to go places. But if this is how she's starting out. And then she moved away. And I followed her on Facebook or Instagram.
Stalker. No.
Yeah. Well, we stayed in touch for years.
Well, I watched you turn into a tattoo artist.
Yeah, you
through
did.
the internet.
That's so cool.
I was
But
watching
you live
you
so
do
far
Hippie
away.
Hill.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. It's just crazy to look back now. Because, like, your perception of me at 16 and myself at 16 are obviously
You were so
different
adult
things.
then that I feel like you just matured into the person I could see when I met
I'm like
you.
basically 45. I'm 26.
She was a 65-year-old woman inside when I met her.
I'm 84 years old.
I can still do some So fast forward now.
Yeah.
She's moved back home. And she's like, I think I'm going to start my own tattoo shop. I'm like, you can do that. And so she did. And now she's moved to a larger location, as you know, and has really blossomed into this shop. And I walk in there feeling really good about, whatever it is we're going to do together, whatever she's going to put on my body. I'm like, this is going to be really cool for both of us because I've seen her grow up into this adult.
Full-fledged person.
You've made a kid, you've made an adult now.
And I met Vic through an event at your place, I think.
You were hosting a Hecate.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That's right.
I told you about
we did
her.
a circle.
That's right.
Like, I'm having a really cool chick come. You should, I think you're going to really dig her. So you guys kind of click.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
And here we are. and Vic and I actually were looking at a partnership at one point at this place that Mystic Market is in now. And I think we talked about this in one of our other podcasts for a brief second. But I was laughing when I went to her place because, like, her walls are black, everything is dark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous. The space is absolutely,
we are.
And I thought, oh my God, how would that have
worked?
played out here? Because, like, I mean, the walls here were already painted and the color was fine with me, and I didn't really want to repaint everything because they had just
freaking work
done it, So much work. But I'm kind of like light and she's the dark, like we really literally would have been,
which it's fitting. I'm in a basement.
Oh, I totally were. I think it's funny to see both of you do that.
Because
I was trying to smush you guys together, and I was like, no, they're gonna create their own ships.
Exactly. It was like we had our own babies.
Yeah, we did.
And I'm kind of glad for it, the way that it turned out.
We're still together. We're doing that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Still collabing, all that good stuff.
We're just spread out,
supporting each other and collaborating at each other's places, and that should be a lesson for everybody. Like, it can be done. Like, put your egos away, people.
I have stuff of Kate's for sale at my shop.
Same.
Same.
Yeah. We're just
I'm infiltrating.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I'm only putting my products in places that I actually really enjoy visiting because it's such a headache to travel with your products and put products out. So having them in your shops, I'm like, oh, well, this makes sense because they're sisters and I see them all the time.
Yep.
Absolutely. The good mojo.
You find your tribe, I'm telling you, and they just come. So.
Well, when I went into her space to do our consult for the tattoo, I saw a flash on the wall.
Yeah.
And I was
you saw it on Instagram first, didn't you?
Instagram first.
And it had muddled in your brain.
Yes.
It haunted you.
I had been talking to her over the years about my experiences with assault.
Yeah.
All that, and so it's like But what ended up happening was I was like, I'm going to do an intuitive tattoo with Victoria. She's like, okay. And we both agree it felt very forced.
It did.
Not her, she wasn't forcing anything. It just felt contrived, and we were,
like you were trying too hard, and it wasn't organic.
We've known each other for so long that it's like I feel almost biased doing a reading for you. I don't need to. I can already tap it.
Right.
You know?
There's no blank canvas. There's all this backstory. So I came home one day. And I went on my Facebook feed or internet or whatever you call it, and she had posted some flash that she created.
It was for the opening event. I was doing a raffle. So it was just one of the 4 raffle pieces.
I looked at it and I was like, how did she know?
Yeah.
I looked at him like, that's it. That's it.
That's
it's
the
2
one.
wolves. Because when I started talking about my story, I started writing a book, and it turned into music. But at the time, I wasn't a musician, so I was just putting it into words. And I prefaced my whole book that I was going to call Punch. The whole preface was the story about the two wolves that you feed, the good and the bad.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
old Cherokee legend.
Yeah,
like you each have
yeah.
a wolf, and it's very cliche.
Yep.
A lot of people think about it in addiction, like which one are you going to feed, right?
Right.
It fits so perfectly though.
And so in this image of hers that she did for me, or she didn't know she was doing for me, had a wolf head, but they were duplicated. It was like two.
It's like an oddity. It's like,
yeah.
it's from a real reference photo. Like this existed somewhere. I don't know if someone like taxidermied it or if it was like a dead thing, but it's like a two-headed
Right.
wolf, and they're conjoined at the neck, but they both have their own bottom jaws.
Right.
And their bottom jaws are facing each other.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense via sound.
I'll put a link to the photo.
Perfect. Yeah.
So you can go actually physically see it on Instagram.
Perfect.
There's other images associated with
Oh,
the
for
wolf.
sure.
There was a heart, and then there was like an anatomical heart, and there was teeth.
Which is your album cover.
Yeah.
The teeth for your teeth that got knocked
Right.
out.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, I have an anatomical heart to
Yeah.
represent break free. The teeth represent my assault and the violence. That like
The dots.
the
You already have
dots,
the dots on
everything.
your arm.
Holy crap.
the moon with the eye, and I'm sitting there
Yeah.
like, how did she know? How did she know? I said, but she already started this other tattoo. I don't want to bug her. And so halfway
So
there,
now I'm going to get a tattoo I don't really
Yeah.
want because I want this one.
Right.
literally halfway there, we're texting her. I'm texting her, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna walk in there, and I'm gonna be up front. And it was really hard at first, but
Well,
she just looked at me. She's like, yeah, really, that one? And I'm like, that's the one. I don't know if you realize that.
when you
did
broke it down for me, I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, Like,
Totally makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did it without knowing you did it.
Absolutely.
So we
And the fact that it didn't, like, I had the raffle, all of that happened, and the
Nobody
person,
took it.
yeah, no one took it. The person who won picked something completely different. I don't even remember what it was now, but
Right.
it's just crazy that it just worked out so seamlessly in the universe, But yeah, when you broke it down, I was in awe.
And I was in tears. When you say people cry,
Yeah.
I actually, when I you didn't see me in tears, but I was
Yeah, I was at
looking
home.
at it, and I was like, when I realized I was finally going to have it on my body, I was finally going to this is probably what I'm going to tell her I want. I had this emotional, visceral response to it, and now it's on me.
Yeah.
It's on my back,
Yeah.
and
it's big. It's
big.
It's a good piece.
And I forget it's there, and I would text her one morning. I was having a really sad day. I was just being depressed, and I got up in the morning to get dressed, and I had forgotten that I had this tattoo on me, and I saw it in the mirror, and I instantly felt better.
Yeah,
I
that's
instantly
awesome.
was like, look at that. That is on my body. That is part of me now.
I love
This is me now. This is not, there was a before and
Right.
there was an after.
Right.
And I have gone through so much, and I have this beautiful representation of my journey on my back.
Right.
And so I text her, and I was like, thank you, this is medicine.
It's such a, like,
That's awesome.
you're not the first client to reach back out after the fact, or, if they just are reoccurring or whatever, but getting messages like that is always so heartwarming for me, because doing this job, I know a lot of tattoo artists aren't exactly like super mushy-gushy, feely-weely kind of people.
Yeah.
So me integrating the witchy part of myself in this like very visceral, very emotional version of things is, I think, kind of a unique experience in the tattoo world, but also very important to me. Like, my tattoos are super spiritual to me, and they have this deep meaning, and I love that part of the process. So I forget, like, you guys go home with this, permanent artwork on you,
Yeah.
and I don't get to see that aftermath, that process,
Right.
So when I guess it kind of grounds me a little bit in like what it is that I'm doing and what I'm trying to cultivate. Like, it is working. It's doing what I wanted it to
It's
do.
medicine for sure. I go back
Right.
to it all the time. I look at it and I'm like,
That's
yeah,
and
like,
the word
cool.
medicine
Yeah.
just, that's what I've wanted. So to hear someone else
Mhm.
verbalize it is very
It's very validating,
It's very
huh?
validating, yeah.
And I know that you do intuitive psychic tattoos, but I think what's important to mention about Vic's talent is that
Stop that.
you are very talented and you deserve that recognition. But I have a couple tattoos now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well,
From-
we did a few.
Do I? Yes, I do. I had to
Think about
check.
that.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
Working on 3.
And the first one, I knew in my head what I wanted, but trying to explain it into words for someone to draw it.
Mm.
And I think I must have sent her like 8 reference photos. Like, I like this on this one, but not that on that
And
one.
this is
Right.
why.
And it has to look witchy and foresty and mushroomy.
Yeah.
And that was literally like what I told her. And she was like, okay.
I got it.
And legit, she like poof, it was like magic. It was exactly what I had envisioned.
Without really knowing what that actually looks like.
Right.
And I feel like I do that for a lot of clients, which is my favorite. That's my favorite, always been my favorite part of the art making process, is making the concept.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And my husband did the same thing. We had, not to bring the tone down, but we had a lot of pet loss in 2023. And my husband, speaking of medicine, was looking for a way to heal from all of our loss. So in 2023, we had 5 pets. At the end of the year, we have 1. So it took a toll. It was heartbreaking.
That's when we met, right? We were going through that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it was heartbreaking. 3 of them were from old age, so they all lived a wonderful life. Another one, he was younger, but he said, I want to get a tattoo of each of their paws, but he didn't want to do like the cliche paw print that every other person on the planet has.
Which is like I get it. I get why people do it.
I get it too.
It has been done a lot.
But it has been done a lot.
Be a little different.
You always want to be a
little different.
And he's kind of got like Norse Viking themed tattoos going on to begin with, so he wanted to kind of keep that theme. So we're trying to explain, like, we want paw prints, but not paw prints. And he wanted the Norse rune of each of the letter of their first, the first letter of their name.
We got there.
for each pet, even the pet that's still alive, he wanted to just put them all up. So we're like, so there. It was like we threw up a bunch of words, and Victoria was like, got it. She got it. Like,
I think I remember seeing that one.
Well, I have Nala's,
one small version,
but he's got all of them up his arm, and so
they slowly get bigger.
And they get bigger because one of the dogs was a Great Dane. So the Great Dane is obviously the biggest, and then we've got the cats and the other dogs, and
it fits his other work perfectly.
And it does, and it's amazing.
So you can adapt to other people's aesthetics and what they already got going on.
Like, I know a lot of artists try to focus on like one style, and I think I kind of have an underlying style, but I'm willing to, change that.
adapt
right.
the design.
Like, I want to provide something for people that they want, not just to be like, this is what I offer, take it or leave it kind of thing. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I prefer breaking out of that box. And kind of doing something different than my usual stuff, and kind of having that challenge of, not only do I want this, I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, but I also, it may not be something that you normally do. Like I did an anime piece the other day. I don't really do anime, but so it's nice to just kind of do things outside of the norm.
It's probably when you learn the most.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so cool, though. But and I love the fact that you can provide someone healing through your tattoo work.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, my knowledge of the tattoo history, I feel like it was such a sacred thing at one point in time.
Let's tap into that.
Yeah.
Right. So you're the tattoo artist. Give us a rundown here of what you perceive to be the history of tattooing. And
well, I mean, they still find remains of people with tattoos on them. They used organic materials to inject ink into the skin. Was it safe? I don't know.
But they primarily, whenever I look back, I always wonder how I perceive the history to be is a lot of time it was used as some kind of rite of passage for an individual.
I agree. I do agree.
Especially for tribal.
Absolutely. And that goes from tattoos to scarification to, all different types of body alterations, or even just like the drapery that you wear and all these things. So, and they broke it down into symbols.
The drapery? What do you mean?
If they wore literal clothes, there's so many different symbolisms that they would use, not only as self-expression, but to label what they were to the tribe.
Well, I was also going to say too, and to go into the darker realm of it, a lot of it was, property. People were marking their property. That's the dark side of it. It's
that's also true.
being used in negative ways.
Absolutely.
Probably
Absolutely.
And even with colors, right? Maybe
Oh,
they
yeah.
had different
I
colors.
would
So these
imagine.
were like women that were available
Right.
or women
Right.
that were already
And
taken.
that probably would, that changes based on where you are in the world. You know, whether you're in India or you're in, more Western
culture.
What we once were. I don't know.
Well, even though, like,
Place
aren't
that
there in the Japanese movies, Japanese
Japanese-
Yakuza can't show their tattoos.
Yes.
So they
it's
have
a
these-
completely different culture.
they have,
than
like,
is
this-
tattoos.
They have like this stunning art on
Right,
their body, but
right.
I think forgive me, I may be wrong, but I believe they only reveal their tattoos if they're about
It's
to kill
very-
someone or something.
Well,
like
it's
that. You have to
for
kill
lack
you
of
if you
better
saw it.
term, I guess, would be gang related. Forgive me if that's ignorant, but
Yeah.
they don't want to show. They
Right.
want to keep that identity hidden. In Japanese culture, you're not really supposed to be tattooed. It's a
Mhm.
little bit frowned upon. It's very taboo.
Right.
Versus America, we have now,
a
almost
whole
everyone.
industry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone is
it's a
tattooed at this
whole-
point.
Cha-ching,
And-
cha-ching
and
as well.
well,
Absolutely.
and before I remember, I had a tattoo. God, before tattoos were popular like
Right,
they
right.
are now.
Right.
Right.
And I remember I wanted my first one in a spot that I could hide it because work places were
Yeah.
they're like, you
And-
can't show that here. Now you walk in anywhere and people are
Yeah.
They have a
covered,
choice.
you know.
Everyone's tattooed, so it's
Yeah.
like you either hire people or you don't.
Right, right.
I also
Um,
knew that too when I was starting to get them. I was like, I'm going to be okay with this because I
Yeah.
don't want to live a life without this on my
Right,
body.
right.
So I guess I just have to understand I'm probably not going to have some. I wasn't cut out for those kind of professions anyway.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it-
I'm always going to be in the art world.
My mindset was like, if I can't be myself at my job, then I don't want to work there.
Right.
I mean, so
Exactly.
whatever that looked like for me, however that played out, that was fine. I knew I wasn't going to be like corporate in America or
Right.
anything. Like,
Right.
come on now.
And even now it's like,
Thank
in
goodness.
vogue.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
corporate America, people. Don't get mad.
Right, it's just not my
Just
way
not
of
our
being.
cup of tea or
Right.
coffee.
I just don't thrive
Runs
in
in
it.
coffee.
Oh, oh Lord.
I don't know. Vic's not really a crone yet. She's too
Yeah.
young.
I
Well, she was when I met her at 16.
Yeah.
She had already
So
seen
she's going backwards.
I have seen some things,
her spirit
man.
is.
But yeah, going back to like the symbolism of like, and kind of why I wanted to veer into like the psychic version of tattooing was I wanted to go back to that roots of what tattooing was.
Right.
You know, it's not only just a symbol of your story, who you are, which is I think perfectly aligned with the psychic part, but also, what do you offer to your coven? We'll say, like. I feel like when I walk into the room of my coven, it's like I have my snake on my shoulder, and that represents the Kundalini part of me, right? There's like so many different things I could break down, but it almost is a reminder to myself of like, how do I hold space in the spaces that I hold? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I liked that kind of tie as well. I mean, that's just like more of a personal thing, but if you want to steal it, steal it. But I think it's just like a recognizer, not only does it tell your story, but it also tells people how you hold space and your vibe and
It's
who
almost like
you are.
you're using your body as the temple that it's
Right.
supposed to be, and you're reflecting back and showing the
Right.
world.
That
Exactly.
is so deep.
So
deep.
Your body's a temple, and you want to decorate it.
I had a client come in the other day. Sorry, I'm gonna veer off for a second, but
That's right.
I had a client come in. She's a little bit older. It's her first tattoo, but she wants this huge piece. Her husband had passed a couple of years ago, so which yeah, do it, girl. But she started showing some concern. She's made past appointments and she's canceled them because she got scared and all these kind of things. And she was like, I'm in a church and they don't necessarily like tattoos, so she's gonna get on her thigh so they don't see it.
Okay.
But I'm thinking like that's crazy in this day and age. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I guess it depends on
Yeah.
what church.
right, I
Yeah.
left the church years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
I grew up in South Mississippi, so I was all part of the Bible Belt, and I know what that
Right.
life looks like. But
Mhm.
she brought up that reference of like, your body's a temple, and I was like, babes, I don't know about you, but the last time I've been in a temple, it was pretty decorated.
That's
All of
awesome.
those stained glass art.
Right, there's the stained glass, there's on
Yeah.
the ceiling, it's on the walls,
Well,
it's
yeah,
on
the
the podium, it's
like the
everywhere.
Catholics are like bougie.
They're
as
so
heck.
bougie, and I
So
love
bougie.
it.
Me too.
It's
I'm here for it.
gorgeous.
Beautiful sculptures, the stained
Yeah.
glass.
Right.
Yeah. So it is. We talked a little bit about. I was listening to our Modern Witch podcast, and we were talking a bit about vanity and ornateness, and how some of these,
Right.
the Puritans probably weren't so ornate, but as pagans and witches love ornate decorations
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we
do.
all that. So So yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. Like,
Yeah.
do it. And there is a before and after. You are kind of, to me, with tattoos, how I've reasoned with it. I didn't get my first tattoo until I was 33. So I did wait. You know, till I didn't run out and get one when I was 18. I went out and did piercings. I was all about the piercings and stretching the ear holes.
Right.
It felt less of a commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I was in a situation on top of a mountain in upper New York.
Nice.
Or no, maybe it was Vermont. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. It was my first psychedelic festival, and there was a tattoo artist there. And I got a tattoo in the woods at 3 a.m.
Oh my!
By a really cute boy named Chase Hanna, who's a phenomenal artist. And I just had these dots on.
Yeah.
And he actually does beautiful artwork with dots on a large scale.
Which now is referenced back to your psychic tattoo.
Yeah, right. So when I saw her flash, it had the dots on it, and that was like, so weird.
Like I swear to God, I did not talk to Kate at all. I just was drawing a wolf, and then I was like, how can I add stuff to this?
And dots, like she did.
It was just so perfect.
So yeah, I had that experience.
So you were tapping in without really tapping in.
Well, we were so,
but you're good friends, anyways. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, we feed off of each other.
So it kind of made sense that she built this flash over time.
Or
this intuitive. I feel like she did it intuitive tattoo. We just were more. It was so personal that it was also very subconscious, and it just kind of, when I saw that image, I was like, that's it. Literally, that's the one. But I was like, no, I can't. I don't know why.
Well, touching back on that too, because I want to say this not only for you but everyone else listening, because I feel like there is a lot of anxiety when it comes to getting tattoos, and you don't want to step in your artist shoes and stuff, and obviously that's appreciated. But in my mind, it's like, I would rather you be honest with me and tell me like, hey, this is what I want permanently etched into my skin. Versus getting something that doesn't speak to you to the same degree. Like, I'd rather make last minute changes than you get something and hate me.
Yeah, and you're very good about checking in too. Like, you weren't intimidating at all. You didn't make me feel that way. I was just like,
I know the anxiety's there.
But you know, on the flip side of that, I have been to tattoo artists in the past.
Not all tattoo artists.
Not all. No. But I went in and I was like, I'm not really digging that, and he got mad. Like I was personally attacking his art, and it wasn't that. It just, I didn't connect with that piece. It wasn't what I explained I wanted, and I ended up not getting it, but he was pissed. And I clearly, visibly pissed.
I understand getting frustrated. I understand, like, you know, you're putting this work in, you're putting this effort in or whatever. It's usually before the client gets there, and, you know, your schedule's chocked full, and, you know, all those stressors. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want my clients to go home and hate what's permanently etched onto their body.
Because now they're going to talk bad about you.
Yeah, that hurts in a lot of ways.
Look what Victoria did to me.
So I'd rather take that ego bruise in the moment. You know, and even if it's drastic and we have to reschedule, fine.
Yeah, it's all about the communication.
Absolutely.
It's all about the communication.
And it's not an attack on your art. It's just that particular piece was not vibing with that person,
and for whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
It's a very human experience.
It is extremely.
You're not just making art, putting on the wall, and having people walk up and go, "Oh, it's pretty."
It's not yours only.
You have to work with the person,
and I think that's probably one of the harder parts of this job is, you know, it's collaborative to some degree.
It is,
and a lot of clients don't have an artist background, so they don't know what the hell they're looking at,
or how to articulate.
How to articulate. How to. Some people can't let go of like the control over the experience as well, which I do. It's on you forever. I get it. You know, I have empathy for that. I totally understand.
I mean, technically, they could have it removed if it was that bothersome.
There are options. You can get it covered. You can get it removed.
I love the rush of it, though. All that it's such a rush after when you're done, and you're like, "Yeah, what a risk! Whoa, this was great.
Yeah,
you know, I want another one." Next thing you know, you get over it.
Oh yeah,
and you're looking for your next thing.
So my first tattoo was the tramp stamp. On my lower back.
I've not seen it.
Because
is it a butterfly?
It's not a butterfly.
Is it a word? Look at us putting her on the spot. What is it? Let's see.
Show it. Whip it out.
Have I seen it? Whip it out.
We got some tribal going on.
Yeah, it's tribal.
It's very Aztec, though.
It's
cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it was labeled as, because it was a piece of flash.
Right.
It was, now you got to think I did this way back.
Yeah, just a tidbit on that is like Flash used to be the only option.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
You didn't get
yes.
custom.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And that goes back to the history of traditional tattooing. That's why traditional tattoo style was made, was so you can come in, pick something off the wall, and you can
Right.
bang
Yeah.
people
And
out.
I thought that was just something they did at the beach.
No,
And
no,
this
it was
was
a thing everywhere for the longest time.
right. And this was labeled as Phoenix,
Oh, interesting.
which I decided to go with
Kind of a vibe.
because,
Yeah, I like that kind of a vibe.
yeah,
I wouldn't have.
it was labeled as Phoenix.
Yeah.
Whether it is or not, I don't know. But the
That's what
reason
it means to you.
right,
So
that's
all that
exactly what
matters,
it
yeah.
means to me. I was going through a horrible divorce.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
I was finding myself again, and I was
Mm.
kind of being reborn into this
The Phoenix.
new person,
Yeah.
into the Phoenix.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of
Out of the
gravitated.
ashes, right?
Yeah.
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 So that's why I gravitated towards that. And that it was years ago. So I don't even remember what year it was. And I think my oldest son was 8 and he's 32 now. So
It's been a minute.
it's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a hot minute.
So yeah, that was,
Yeah. Well, and that just goes back to the symbolism part of, this has been a thing forever.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
even if people get stupid things, for lack of a better term, I have a leg dedicated to cartoons. You know what I mean? They don't all have to
I actually want a bad
Deep
tattoo.
meaning.
You know what I mean? Like I want a
Right.
silly, weird
Right.
tattoo somewhere,
And
just for the
a
sake of it.
bad tattoo,
right.
quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Well, some of the best tattoos are the funniest.
I think so
ones.
too.
Like I've met some bartenders always have funny tattoos.
Oh, they
I'm just
do.
saying.
And it's so clever every time.
They always pull it out behind the bar and they get good tips
It's
for
so
it.
good. It's so good. But it's like even that has its meaning to it.
I
Like,
have one
yeah.
cartoony,
Yeah, our
my
little dog.
my Great Dane.
Oh, I love him.
But every tattoo I have has a meaning
Right.
to it.
Well, I think even the silly ones have meaning.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's just to bring you joy or just to bring you back to a space that, for me, my cartoons, it was like a part of my childhood kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
and it molds you into who you are. So if you want to put
Yeah.
silly, goofy things on you, do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's your body.
But it's there forever.
Oh no!
Why do I sound like an old man?
That's why the memorial tattoos are always interesting to me. It's the one way to
Yeah.
memorialize people in your life.
I have my opinions, but as an
Yeah,
artist, you see it a million times, so
of course.
sometimes it gets a little burnt out. But
And sometimes they just don't even look like.
What
Ooh,
there's-
yeah, we could go.
Oh.
yeah,
Go into a dark
going
place.
down that rabbit hole of what hole.
No
Yeah.
regrets.
No
Oh, man.
regrets. The no regrets tattoos. Yeah.
I've done a fair share of cover-ups,
Every once in a while, I see one. I just want to send it to you, Vic. I'm like, yeah, but she probably sees bad tattoos. All the people probably.
Oh, they're
send
great
her
though.
something.
I love seeing them.
I've seen some. The ones with like the derpy tigers. It's like this
Oh,
big epic
it's
tiger.
always the
He has like a
tiger.
derpy face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 7-year-old drew it.
Or the prison
Yeah.
tattoo.
Well, right. It's like you have no business being a tattoo artist if that's
Listen,
the
it's a
outcome.
hard job.
I'm sure.
and
We're getting into so that was interesting to watch. You and my friend Jay,
Oh,
who you
man.
met right before you
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
This is my coven
That's
sigil.
So good, yeah.
moved. Yeah,
So he
nice.
did
So dark.
this.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the one Victoria did.
Yeah, I'm a little
Look
broom.
at that.
Oh, it's healed so nicely. I haven't seen it in a
Look at
while.
that
That looks great.
broomstick. That is
The little
cool.
dust. Oh, it's so cute.
And the little mushrooms, like,
That's
Okay,
how
it's
your
like the
detail
best.
really
Yeah.
shines. The viewers can't,
Yeah.
or listeners can't see this, but
it's
Lori
alright.
showed
My
her.
only regret is I wish I made it bigger.
Oh, I think it's perfect.
I think it's perfect. I think it fits the spot really nicely.
Because I just love it so much. I just want to see it more.
Yeah.
I want it more.
A broomstick tattoo
yeah,
on her bicep, basically.
but it's black and white,
It's very flattering.
black and gray.
The placement on the body
Yeah.
and the
And
detail on
it's
it.
magical.
You'll have to-
The,
You'll have
the
to put that one
handle,
too in the-
yeah, the handle is like a stick you'd find on a hike.
Right, yeah. And I think that's what we wanted.
It's very organic
Mhm.
and magical, and there's like mushrooms growing on it and sparkles.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
And it's not overdone. That's what I like about it.
Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
subtle.
But there is a lot of detail at the same time.
It's
like
amazing.
finding that balance.
I love
Yeah.
that. I forgot.
Right?
Whoa.
Wait a
Look at
minute.
look at all that, Vic. That's crazy.
I love the duster on it.
That's
Is that what
amazing.
it's for?
That's a great tattoo.
Very magical.
I do love that one.
All your tattoos.
It's on my website.
That's-
Yeah, I'll have to link that one
Yeah.
too.
Sometimes I look at her because she works on
I
herself.
do work on
and
myself.
I'll be hanging out with her and I'm checking her out. Like, what'd she do now? You know, like looking at her arms and her hands.
I know
I
I
think
don't
it was
list.
I noticed these
Oh,
when they weren't
man.
there.
So how do you do the other side of you?
I don't.
Oh,
So big tattoos of self. People
Yes.
aren't.
All right then.
I can reach my legs. I can reach my left arm. My right arm is pretty bare because I can't.
Because you can't do
Reach
it.
it.
So, would you go to a tattoo
Oh,
artist
yeah,
to
I
have
do.
the other side
I
done?
do. I have a couple artists that I go to. There's a woman named Neon. She just opened her. Well, not just. She's been open a while now. Now I think about it, but she's got her own studio. I started going to her when I first got tattooed when I was 18, which is not that long ago, but we'll say 8 years ago.
I was 18. that was my crone coming out.
There's perks to being the crone too, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I go see her, and I've gotten some done by this woman named Alexandra, and she's great. I have a hard time finding someone who does what I want in my area.
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of artists I'd love to go see, but they're in like, you know, the other side of the planet or whatever.
The other side of the planet. I'm buying a plane ticket to get a tattoo
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't tattoo.
Man, it's crazy. Some people have come to see me, and they, you know, they're like, "Oh yeah, I drove like 4 hours." I'm like, "What?
Wow, that's
what a
awesome,
compliment,
right?
Yes.
That's crazy."
Hey, when you find someone,
Yeah, sometimes.
before I found you, I went to Jay,
Mhm.
and then he was like, "Oh, I'm moving to Texas." I'm
Yeah.
like, "No,
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I have other work I want done. Don't move to Texas."
It's always a downside. It is hard finding an artist, especially now
Yeah.
that everything is custom.
Yeah,
You know, it's like finding
No,
an
I'm
artist
going
is
to you all the
important.
time now. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm
same girl,
Locked.
same.
Locked
bitten
in.
by that.
Locked and loaded. I'm going in April.
Right.
Before we so you do tattoos.
I do.
Obviously, we talked a lot about that.
We did.
But another part of your shop, because you have the space for it, is you actually
Yeah.
have a small retail space,
Yep.
and you do also offer readings.
I do. Like, if you just want a reading, you don't have to go the tattoo route. But yeah, I have a small, you know, when you first walk in, that's what you walk into is the store front. It's still minuscule as far as like as much of what I'm selling, but there's plans. I've only been open since November. So.
That's where your intuition comes in as well.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So how did you know you were intuitive? Just to go back to
man.
intuition.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I know. We veered into the tattoo talk for quite a while, but yeah. So I started getting into witchy things in high school. But I feel like ever since I was a kid, I kind of had this innate feeling. I guess we can call it, which I feel like most in tune people can relate to that. But
Did
I
you
was
dabble with certain tools?
no.
You just
No. Mm-mm.
Well, how do you know what your preferred method is?
It took a while, to
Yeah.
be honest. When I was growing up, you know, I grew up in the deep South, like the farthest part of Mississippi as you could go south, you know. I was basically, I lived in a beach town, really. But you couldn't be a witch. That was not okay.
Right.
As far as how I felt living there and my experience living there, it was very rare to find other people. There's no shops. You know, here there's an abundance of shops,
Yeah.
but down there it's not something
Yeah.
that's a thing. It's very much the Bible Belt, so everything's Christian, Baptist.
So did you have to leave there to finally explore that
Yeah,
world
I think
openly?
so. Not consciously, you know. I moved here when I was a freshman in high school, so it was just my mom divorced my stepdad when we moved here because she's from here. That was pretty much it. And I hated living in Mississippi. It was just not something that I didn't feel like I fit in and all these things. So when she offered for us to leave, I was like, hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, you fit right in here.
Yeah, I felt much more at home. And, you know, we came to visit because we had family and stuff here. So when I was here, I felt right. You know, I just felt like I'd fit. So yeah, when I moved here, I started making friends, and I wasn't even really taking art serious until I moved here. So moving here really catapulted me not only in my art, but also in my spirituality. And then I started making friends who were also artists and into the spiritual stuff. And it wasn't really till, I'd say like senior year into college that I really started like really taking my interest in the spirituality seriously, or not really even seriously, but dabbling in it, I guess. When I really started taking it seriously, I had finished with my mentor and I moved back here because I went back to Mississippi that's a long story, but we won't get into it.
For your apprenticeship.
Yeah, I went back for college and then ended up dropping out, got an apprenticeship, and then I moved back for lots of not super fun reasons, but I'm glad I did. And then I just started taking off from there. But I was struggling mentally. So my spirituality came from a place of wanting to help myself.
Same with me.
Yeah, I was in a really like weird space in my head, and I just had faced a lot of trauma, and I didn't really know what else to do. I couldn't afford therapy, so I started doing.
Boy, I can relate to that.
We talked about that in our last episode.
Yeah.
It's been a very useful tool for me, and I've just wanted to spread that to other people. And once I started really tapping into it, I understood. I started making all these connections. So like going back to my childhood and being like, oh, like I remember. Okay, wait a minute.
And isn't it amazing? Like being intuitive and having that spirituality, like it is so healing. And it's like I personally want to help everybody to feel that, to feel healed.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
it's
and
like contagious. Like you want to give it to people. Like, please.
And I think I noticed I was intuitive like back in high school.
Yeah.
Because back in high school too, you're really cliquey and girls are mean. The girls are the worst in high school. But everyone, you'd go to a party or something, everyone's like, oh, meet Tom, he's great. And I would always be the one that'd be like, nope, Tom is a skank.
Yeah,
are we allowed to say skank? Is that a word?
I don't know. It feels like a word.
But Tom is not cool, and everyone's like, you're crazy, what's your problem?
Then Tom does some sketchy shit,
and then 2 months later they're like, how did you know Tom was a loser? Man. And I'm like, I told you. I told you.
Like, I don't have an answer. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It just was this feeling that I felt, and I told you.
Because I can walk into a room of 80 people and I'm like, ew.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I like that. Ew.
Yeah.
Like I can pick out the ew in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And I have been able to do that forever. And I'm not like, ew. I don't walk up to someone and go, ew. Mentally, I'm going, ew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
do I hide it on my face? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
No.
My face, I would be terrible at poker.
Me too.
Because my face says something totally different.
Absolutely.
And my husband will lean over and he's like, face.
Fix it.
Face. And I'm like, oh. Here's my pretend happy face.
When I was a kid too, I also like, I don't even know how to describe it. I've read it in a book, and that's where I was like, oh, so it is a thing. Like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
But like I could get like the attunement of like I go thrifting all the time. So touching an object, I feel like I get like almost like a surge of energy through it, and not necessarily know its past story, but kind of where it's been, what the vibes were. Like, or if something's haunted, or going down that way, or like stepping into a building. I get the most intense feelings.
Locations, I definitely.
Yeah.
I could never articulate exactly what's going on, but there's definitely some environments I've been in where I'm like, antennas are up, something's going on.
Right. There's a place in Welton, Greenfield Forge. It's in the mill. I was doing his social media for him, and he wanted to show me, I forget what it's called now, some kind of turbine thing. It's connected to the river.
Right.
Oh.
We have those at our
produces,
mill.
produces electricity.
Yeah.
So he brought me down to this room, and I instantly started to feel nauseous.
Oh.
Every hair on my body was like straight up. And I got dizzy. I said, I can't be down here.
Gotta go.
He's like, no, you gotta come in this room. This is the room where the turbine is. So you went down the stairs, and there was a room off to the left, and then off down the hallway to the right was where the electricity thing was. But it was that room to the left. I got the weirdest heebie-jeebies of my life. It was an ick for sure. And I had to leave. I had to go outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was almost like I was having like a hot flash kind of thing, but it wasn't that.
I get hot when I'm just reading.
Yeah.
When I'm just doing, like when I'm just playing, especially at festivals, because it's like nonstop all day. Oh my God, I feel like I'm radiating heat.
And there is a thrift store in Amherst.
Oh.
The Eclectic Mix.
Yeah.
I think I sent you a
There's
picture
one room
of that.
in the back. You're not
Dude!
the first person to tell me.
That's what I was just gonna say. There's
like
one
small room that everyone hates.
I cannot go in it.
Yeah. It is a little spooky.
There's something in it,
and
the room that it's in has these. I don't want to call it a poppet, but I don't know what other word to use.
Is this the place that has like the Kitty Angel stuff?
I don't know.
It's like a pink building.
It's a pink building. It's
called
the Eclectic
Mix.
There. It's like 20,000 feet big. It's a huge place.
Huh. But it's like every inch of it.
But there's these wooden carved people, but they look African, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Man.
But that room,
All sorts of
and
things. going on.
it's like some of those
Let's
things
go,
in
let's get a
there.
coffee.
Right, but I think of that woman. I don't know if you've seen her on TikTok. I think of that woman that she's like, put it back, put it back, like don't open it. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that there's something in that room, and my husband's he's like points to it. He's like, Lore. I'm like, no, I don't want it. I need sage in there.
Yeah, honestly.
But it is a cool store. It's called Eclectic Mix.
It is a cool store. There's a lot of cool
cool stuff in there.
Yeah. I go there all the time. I found quite a few good finds.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But I do cleanse it.
What'd you bring home, really?
Yeah, honestly.
No, I cleanse everything I buy in that
Or-
place, no matter what. I cleanse it. Yeah.
I don't like dolls. We're not going down
dolls.
that road. Absolutely not.
No, thank you.
A little too human for me.
No,
I'm sorry.
thank you.
Oh man.
Intuitive tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah. What a creepy doll.
No creepy doll tattoos. No, thank you.
Oh,
All right. Well, we're about out of time
yeah.
today.
Weird way to close off.
Yeah, weird.
Well, I was going to say,
I had a feeling we
I
just
actually
ramble.
think that, just articulating real quick before we go to our listeners, that if you were seeking something meaningful, something healing,
Deep.
an experience that maybe you can share with someone else, you know,
Yeah.
if you have a girlfriend or a sister or a brother or a parent, and you want to have some type of healing experience that involves tattoo,
Yeah.
involves body modification, you're not going to find anybody better than Vic. She's going to care.
Maybe.
Yeah, and the detail, the attention to detail is there. The intention to experience is
Yes.
there, which I think is a big deal. Even the space you provide your clients, you care about.
It's all very important to
So
me.
if you even just want to see her shop,
Yeah.
just to see
Yeah.
it, it's worth
because
seeing.
it's an experience
It
too.
is.
Because
It's
when
immersive.
when I walked in, I was like, oh,
There's a
You're
lot to
taken
look
care
at.
of. There's
There's
little
a-
candies and snacks everywhere. And
There
like,
is. I provide tea
you know,
and snacks.
right. So it's very sweet. And the
Absolutely.
Riverwalk is right above her, so
Yep.
you can get a meal, you can get a coffee, you can go and explore downtown Nashua
Absolutely.
as well.
But it's a very unique shop.
Yes.
I mean,
Thank
I've
you.
never been into any
Never
place
been in
like
a shop
that.
like that.
I think, yeah, overall, and that was always my goal. Like, I knew I wanted to open my own shop, and this is really like the final, or I guess not the final product, but the more refined
It's
version
my
of that.
final form.
You're not
you
going anywhere for a while.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
officially landed, I think.
Definitely. At least in this area, you
Yeah.
know, my lease there's for 2 years, so I'll at least be there for 2 years. I do have big dreams one day.
That's
but-
what I say about here. I'm like, I have to be here at least 3 years. But
Yeah.
I do have
Goes like that.
I do
Right,
have plans
right.
for bigger
Right.
space.
Right, but if anything,
who
it's just to
knows?
grow. It's not necessarily
right.
to change what we're doing,
Exactly,
or the
exactly.
the intention behind what we're doing. So
And who knows, ladies and gentlemen, maybe down the road the three of us are gonna have a place together, and it's gonna be a completely different name.
there's a lot of
Who
possibilities.
knows?
for sure.
Who knows?
At least collabs for sure.
At
obviously.
least collabs for sure, absolutely. Because when you find your tribe, you hold on to them
Absolutely.
And you go get a tattoo.
and you go
You
get
go
tattoo.
get a tattoo. You find the artist that, you know, speaks to you in a real way. If you want art that not only pertains to you and who you are, but also, you connect with the artist in their artist way, I think is really important. So that's always my goal. I want you to be happy with what you go home with, whether
Absolutely.
from an emotional, deep place, but also from an artistic, beautiful way to show
Awesome.
your skin.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you guys
being
for having me.
our guest today and
Yeah.
for sponsoring our podcast.
Absolutely.
We have Victoria, tattoo intuitive psychic tattooist. That's a lot. That's a
Just smashed your mouth.
that's a
Whatever you
big
need me to be.
that's a big mouthful. I can't.
It's a big word for
Don't make me repeat
Intuitive
that.
Tattoos by Vic from Eye of Ethereal.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
Located where?
33 Railroad Square in Nashua, New Hampshire.
And we have Kate at Prayers of Nature.
33 Howard Street.
Oh,
Wilton,
weird.
New Hampshire.
I never realized we had the same numbers.
I did.
And Mystic Market, 188. Sorry, different.
One
188 Elm Street in Milford, New Hampshire.
We got the
So-
good vibes, y'all.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed today's podcast. And until next time, live, love, and magic. Bye.
Blessed be.